Right, hello, I'm Debs. This is Debs Made This. Welcome. I have a slightly late Fridaysews. So I've got my cup of tea and I just thought I'll pop in and tell you a couple of things that have been going on. Been a bit of a weird week. I hope your week has been well. Good, whatever. Hope your week has been good. I've got a cup of tea, so excuse me. And I'm wearing my Lyra dress. So I am probably the last person in the whole sewing community to sew this, and I didn't get it at the time because I didn't think I needed it when it came out. I wasn't completely convinced as I was sewing it up, but I really like it now it's sewn. I'm not sure it's the perfect pattern for me, excuse the dog barking, but I think it'll do nicely. And this fabric, which came from Rainbow Fabrics at the Knitting and Stitching in the autumn time, is lovely and was really nice to sew with. It's a viscose, and it hardly pulled at all. I think I have one pull in the whole garment. So that's quite good going, isn't it? I'll put a picture in, but I made a maxi version. So it would normally have you take a shorter version of the first tier if you're going to put the bottom tier on, but I kept the full length of the skirt and then added the tier on, mostly so if I didn't like it long, I could just take that tier off and it would still be wearable. But I'm quite enjoying it long at the moment. I've been wearing it with my chunky boots, which are like Lanx ones, and also with a pair of very old patent longer boots as well for some things that have been a little bit more dressy, and with my green leather jacket that I got for my birthday last year, quite common. I'm going to tell you about what I've been sewing, a couple of pieces of fabric, and there was something else. I'll go and get my notebook before we go any further to make sure I don't forget whatever the next thing was. Right, well, the first thing I've written down is don't mention the 2023 reflections. It's a work in progress, we'll say that. But what I have been doing is, look at this. Do you know what this is? This is a 12 for a blazer. I know, get me? I was trying to think about like make 9 and all that stuff. And I keep putting these items on my make 9 and it makes not the blinded bit of difference. In fact, I think it makes me less likely to do it if I put it on a list. So, sorry, the dog and the Hoover are obviously interacting next door. Hopefully that'll settle the noise. So I've got the toile made. Not only have I got the toile made, so the toile is completed. I did some adjustments. I took out some height at the waistline and I did a forward shoulder, and I've got one seam that I've done a forward shoulder on and one that I haven't. So when I finish the whole thing, I may well show you that, just to kind of show you what the difference is. But what I was finding essentially was when I put my arm forward, I was getting a lot of restriction. And then when I've done the forward shoulder adjustment, I found that restriction's gone. So it's just that reminder that always, before you start to add any width to a back or anything, sort your shoulders out first. And I shall show you where I've got to in a second. Put my tea down. So I've got to, the pockets are on, the front is joined to the back of the main shell, and it's in this lovely stripe, which has been a bit tricky to press in parts. The main body of it is like a cotton sateen, I think, but it's got this woven strip in it, which I think must be made of a viscose or poly, maybe. So that's not pressing. The stripe, the main body press is fine, but the stripe doesn't press, and the stripe also gets a little pull in it. So I've moved to a Microtex 80, and that's slightly better. So we're just keeping going on with that. So I'm quite pleased that I just kind of started it and managed to kind of get a bit of momentum going. So that was good. The other thing that's been sewn this week is, I can't remember if I mentioned it before, my nephew had for his Secret Santa present from me a kind of wearable blanket, but done in a water resistant fabric. So I made it in this soft shell fabric, which has got quite a soft inside, and then I lined it with this kind of polyester blanket stuff, and both of those fabrics came from Pound Fabrics. I normally buy this kind of fabric from Northern Monkey Mates, but they'd run out, so I had to kind of think again, and it's fine. It was reasonably priced and did what it was needed, because we're on a fairly tight budget restriction for the Secret Santa thing. But you can see I have an arm here and I have an arm here, so it's like a really dropped shoulder, and then it has a short sleeve. I'll put the picture, which is the DIB, where it used to be wearable blanket, Billie wearable blanket pattern. My nephew is about 6'5", and he's got really long arms, and I did lengthen a little bit, but then I took some width out of the body, not really thinking about how much that would take off the kind of arm reach because the shoulder is so dropped. So it was too short from when it kind of hit just at his watch strap, but because it's to wear watch strap, it hit just at his watch strap, but because it's to wear like on the touchline for rugby, I don't really want him to be cold. And plus, what's the point of me making it if I don't make it to fit him? So I took this sleeve off, and the other one, obviously, and I added about 1.5 inches to the cuff, and I added 2 inches to the length of the sleeve. So I was adding about 3.5 inches all told on each arm. And I shall put in a picture of him wearing the finished one, so that fits much better. So I'm pleased with that. So that is a good outcome. I think I'm either I'm gonna make one for someone else. So I kind of was umming and ahhing whether to keep these sleeves or whether to make them into mittens. I got a mitten pattern before Christmas, and when I'm dog walking, because I've got Raynaud's, which is like a circulation issue with my hands, mittens are sometimes a bit of a better option for me. So that's a kind of vague plan. Oh, I have a book that lovely Gem has given to me, lent to me, which is this one, and I'm not completely sure. If you have made something from this book, would you give me a shout? I'm just not completely convinced by the way that they fit the post photographs. You know, they do that sometimes, is they put out a pattern and you think, well, I'm not sure that fits very well. It's kind of all a little bit kind of loosey-goosey with dropped shoulders, and I'm not sure it's my style. But yes, convince me otherwise. Let me see what you've made out of these. Give me a shout and let me know. So I think it's been out maybe 3 or 4 years, that one. But I may be returning it if I can't see anything that looks like it's going to be my bag, or that I haven't already got something that works for me already. I am in search of a toast dress which popped up on my style line. I shall insert that here, which is a woven dress with a wide waistband. And there's a few that are similar about, but nothing that's like absolutely nails it. So I might end up having to make that out of some things that I've got already, some patterns that I've got already, but I think I probably can. I have 2 new pieces of fabric to show you. One was my Christmas present. So as I say, we have our Christmas in January on one side of the family. This hasn't been washed, but it is this lovely, I'm sure you've all seen some of this. This is a Nerida Hansen cotton sateen that came from the lovely Katie at So, who's local to us. And I do try and use little companies when I can, and she's lovely. I've often bought fabric from her, so I gave the name to my Secret Santa pot, and it appears I've got 3 meters of that. So I am pondering what it should be. In my head at the moment is either a Closet Core Joe jumpsuit or maybe a spring jumpsuit, which is a Solove pattern that I've made lots before. But at the moment I was kind of pondering my plans, and the Joe is in my plans, I think, which that's why that kind of came to mind. Or I might make separates, actually. I suppose that's the other thing. I could do a top and a bottom, and then I've got a bit more flexibility with it. The other fabric, which I've been kind of just trying to be very conscious about my buying, but this was too good an offer to pass up. So this is this lovely kind of pecan colour. Can you see it's like rusty? It's got a slight sheen to it, but it hasn't been through the wash yet, so I don't know whether it'll keep that. It's supposed to be a tencel cotton blend, a brushed tencel cotton blend, I think is how it was described. It's from Rainbow Fabrics, but it has stretch, which I'm not sure was mentioned. So that obviously means that it's got elastane in it as well. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure. There were a few things in my head about this, but I wanted to see the fabric was the first thing, because I was like, a brushed cotton tencel, what's that? They had 70% off sale. I think they still have it. And so this ended up costing, I think it was £11.50 or something for 3 meters posted to me. So I kind of thought, well, for that, even if I don't like it, I can use it for 12 fabrics for like a bottom weight, or maybe for the Joe, I could do a toile of the Joe in it, actually. I was also thinking, I've got the Isle jeans, which I wanted to make in a rust-coloured needle cord, but I could do them in this to start with, although it's perhaps slightly lightweight for that. Anyway, yes, any good ideas about what I could make with that, give me a shout. So as usual, thank you to Jen of Today in Jen's Sewing Room for this Fridaysews concept. Go and have a little look and see what everybody's chatting about. what they've been making and what their plans are. My plans for the next week are to carry on with the blazer while I've still got some impetus for it. I also have a plan to make my friend Anna's pyjamas because it's her birthday in 2 weeks' time, so I need to get on with that. And I have a kind of a bit of a nightwear module percolating in my head because I have to look at my pyjamas, and most of them are very scruffy, kind of old toiles of things or things that were not in very good colours, and so got relegated to the pyjama box. So yeah, I think I deserve nice pyjamas. So that's kind of vaguely on my plan. So let me know, what have you been sewing? What are you up to? You can tell from what I've said to you and how much video content I put up that my Sejo has been a little bit missing in action, but I'm just kind of going with it. I've got plenty of clothes. It's not a problem. So yeah, we shall see. So I think that's it from me for today. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content that I'm bringing you. And I shall be along again shortly, I'm sure. Goodbye and God bless.